In every family, there are unspoken stories, quiet sacrifices, unseen struggles, and love that goes unnoticed. This is one such story, of Michael, the eldest son who gave everything, and received nothing in return. Michael grew up in a small town in Oregon, in a modest two-story home filled with laughter, the smell of coffee, and the sound of his parents arguing about bills. He was the firstborn, quiet, responsible, and always the one who cleaned up after others. Then came Ethan, 4 years younger, playful, mischievous, and somehow, always adored. Robert and Linda, their parents, weren't cruel, just human. They never realized how deep their favoritism ran. At every family dinner, their praise always tilted toward Ethan. Linda, Ethan got an A in math again. He's such a bright boy. Robert, he's going places. Michael, you should help him with his science project this week. Michael, sure, Dad. He always said, sure. Even when it hurt. Michael was the kind of son who fixed the broken faucet before anyone noticed it was leaking, who walked his mother's groceries home in the rain, who stayed up late studying, not for glory, but to make sure he never became a burden. But Ethan was different. Charming, talkative, effortlessly likable. He got away with things Michael never could. When Ethan crashed the family car at 17, his parents said, he's just a kid. When Michael accidentally scratched it while washing, his father sighed, you should have been more careful. Years passed. Michael finished college while working part-time to support himself. His parents couldn't afford tuition for both boys, and Michael didn't want to take away from Ethan's future. So, he took loans. He worked night shifts. And when Ethan wanted to join an expensive university, it was Michael who gave up his savings to help pay for it. He told no one. Fast forward a few years, Ethan had become a marketing executive in a big firm in Seattle. Michael, on the other hand, worked as a mechanic in a small workshop nearby. He wasn't rich, but he was happy. He had a loving wife, Emily, and a baby girl named Sarah. They lived humbly, but warmly. Every Sunday, Michael visited his parents, still bringing groceries, fixing things, mowing the lawn. Every Sunday, he watched them light up when Ethan called, even if it was just for 5 minutes. Linda, your brother's in New York this week. He's doing so well. Michael, that's great, Mom. Robert, you should be proud of him. He's living the dream. Michael, yeah, I am. But that night, as he drove home, Michael couldn't help but feel the silence in his chest, the kind that only comes when you've given too much for too long. Years rolled by. One day, Michael received a call. His father had fallen sick. Without hesitation, he took leave from work and rushed home. Emily packed his things, whispering, they need you. Go. When he reached the hospital, Ethan wasn't there. Robert lay weak on the bed, machines beeping beside him. Michael sat beside his father, holding his hand, whispering prayers he didn't even believe in. For 3 weeks, he stayed there, sleeping on chairs, paying bills, managing everything quietly. When Robert finally recovered, Ethan arrived, with flowers, a big smile, and a camera-ready hug. Ethan, hey, Dad. Look who's here. Robert, my boy, you came. Michael stood at the corner, watching, exhausted but silent. When Linda later thanked Ethan for being there for his father, Michael just smiled faintly. Time moved on, but so did resentment, quietly building, like dust in the corners of a forgotten room. Then came the day everything broke. Robert decided it was time to discuss the family property, the old house and a small plot of land. They sat together in the living room, Michael, Ethan, Linda, and Robert. Robert, we've been thinking, since Ethan's living in the city, it makes sense to give him the house. He can rent it out or sell it. Michael, the house. But I'm the one taking care of it. Linda, you already have your own place, honey. And Ethan needs a base for when he visits. Michael, I've been maintaining this place for 10 years, Mom. Fixing, cleaning, paying the property tax. Robert, don't make this about money, son. You know family comes first. Michael's lips trembled. He wasn't angry, just tired. Michael, family, right. He stood up slowly. Michael, I've been here every weekend for years. You never noticed, did you? You only see what Ethan says he'll do, not what I actually do. Linda, Michael, please. Michael, no, Mom. It's fine. I get it now. He turned and left. That night, for the first time in his life, Michael didn't look back. Days turned into weeks. No calls, no visits. Emily noticed how quiet he'd become, how he sat by the window after dinner, staring at nothing. One evening, she placed a cup of coffee beside him and said softly, "Emily, you did everything you could, Michael. You can't force people to see your worth." He nodded, though tears brimmed in his eyes. "Michael, I never wanted praise. Just to feel like I mattered." Then, one cold November morning, a call came. It was Linda, crying. "Linda, Michael, it's your father." He collapsed. Michael's heart raced. Within an hour, he was at the hospital again. Robert had suffered a mild stroke. Ethan wasn't there, he was overseas for a business trip. For days, Michael stayed by his father's bedside, doing everything again, quietly, selflessly. And one night, when Robert finally woke up, his weak eyes searched the room. "Robert, Ethan." "Michael, no, Dad. It's me." Robert stared for a long time. Then his hand reached for Michael's. "Robert, you're still here." "Michael always was, Dad." A tear slipped down Robert's cheek. When Ethan finally returned, he looked ashamed. He saw how Michael had handled everything, the bills, the doctors, their mother. That night, as the brothers sat outside the hospital, silence stretched between them. Finally, Ethan spoke. "Ethan, I was selfish, Mike. I thought success made me better, but I was just scared. You were always the strong one." Michael shook his head. "Michael, we both tried in our own ways. Just wish they saw it earlier." Ethan sighed, eyes glistening. "Ethan, maybe we can help them see it now." When Robert came home from the hospital, he found something on the dining table, an old photo album. Inside were pictures Michael had kept, him fixing the house, birthdays, hospital bills, even receipts with notes in his handwriting, paid by Michael. On the last page, a small photo of the whole family, smiling, years ago, with a note underneath. "I never stopped loving you." Robert's hands shook. He looked at Linda, whose tears were already falling. "Linda, what have we done?" "Robert, we forgot our son." The next morning, they visited Michael's home unannounced. Emily opened the door, surprised. Michael came out of the kitchen, wiping his hands, confused. "Linda, can we talk?" There was a long silence before Michael nodded slowly and invited them in. They sat on the couch, the same family that once shared laughter, now separated by years of quiet hurt. "Robert, son, we've been blind. We hurt you more than we ever realized. Linda, you gave us everything, time, money, love, and we never even said thank you." Michael looked down, eyes moist. "Michael, I never wanted thank yous, Mom. Just to be seen. Linda, we see you now. And we're so proud of you." Robert reached out, his
voice breaking. "Robert, can you forgive us?" Michael stared at them for a moment, and then smiled softly. "Michael, I already did, a long time ago." Tears flowed freely as Linda hugged her son, tight, trembling, as if afraid to lose him again. Weeks later, the family gathered for Thanksgiving, for the first time in years. Laughter returned to that small Oregon home. Ethan played with little Sarah, Robert told old stories, and Linda cooked too much food as always. And in the middle of it all, Michael sat quietly, watching. Not with sadness this time, but peace. He had finally been seen. Sometimes, the quiet ones carry the heaviest hearts. Sometimes, the forgotten deserve to be remembered. And sometimes, love just needs to be spoken aloud to heal what silence broke. This was the story of the forgotten son.